If you're thinking about moving to Jonesboro, Arkansas, there's a lot to like, but there's also some things that people don't realize until they get here. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Jonesboro, Arkansas and surrounding cities. So if you're a resident here, hi, my name's Taylor. I'm a local realtor here in Northeast Arkansas if you haven't met me yet. And obviously if you're thinking about moving here, hi, I'm a realtor in Northeast Arkansas and I can help you buy your home whenever you move here, if you decide to do that after this video. I'm just kidding. I love this area and I hope to provide some valuable truths living here, good and bad. That way you can make a decision, maybe even questioning if this is the place for you to live and spend for the rest of your life, or perhaps you've never heard of Jonesboro, Arkansas before and you've opened options of where to move here in the States. If you don't know where Jonesboro, Arkansas is, it's in the northeast section of the state of Arkansas. We call this part Northeast Arkansas, or NEA. So if you ever hear me talk about what happens in NEA or this part in NEA, I'm referring to Northeast Arkansas, and that's just kind of what we refer to up here. Jonesboro's not the biggest city in Arkansas, but it is an up and growing part of the state. If you are familiar with this portion of the state at all, you know that there's a lot of different things that are driving people to this section of the state, and I'm going to go over them in this video obviously, but there's also some things that might be making people move away, in which I'll also cover. Here's the thing I can say about Jonesboro. It kind of sits in neutral ground. It kind of has this pros and cons that balance it out perfectly, and maybe I can elaborate more on that here in just a second. So to talk about some of the pros that are associated with living in Jonesboro is probably the cost of living. The cost of living in most cities, it seems like here in North America, seem to keep going up and up and are astronomical as they are. Jonesboro does have one of the lower cost of living in regards to the national average. Home prices are definitely more negotiable right now in this area, and obviously the gap between buying and renting is not that significant. Matter of fact, you can actually rent a home for relatively the same amount of price that you can buy one, which makes it a really great market for investors, for people that are just not able to, buy houses due to whatever reason. You can still make some really great money on the investing side, but also if you are able to buy a house, financially speaking, your payment's not that much different than what you would be renting a house for. So again, kind of that neutral ground. $200,000 to $300,000 goes a long way here in Northeast Arkansas. And you can buy some amazing houses that offer a lot of land, a lot of newer modern upgrades, and of course, lots of potential for the next buyer. Being in Northeast Arkansas, another pro is the growth and opportunity. It's not peaked at its full growth yet, but it also has a lot of room for growing, which obviously creates opportunity depending upon who you are. Education programs or education complexes like Arkansas State University definitely allows for a big influence of people here seasonally with the college. Obviously, it brings and drives traffic to the city, but also provides a lot of job opportunities for people moving to this part of the state. And then, of course, you've got medical facilities like NEA Baptist, which is constantly enlarging their territory throughout other cities here in Northeast Arkansas. St. Bernard's as well is another big one that employs a lot of people, especially here in Jonesboro specifically. I don't even know how many branches they have here in Jonesboro, but there's a lot of facility to go around here. It's growing, but there's still room for opportunity for investors and students and entrepreneurs that are wanting to get their foot established in a market that's not too saturated where you can't really do some damage. This provides a really cool opportunity no matter who you are. Another unique thing that I think about whenever I think of Jonesboro is its actual geographic location or proximity to other big cities. Like Little Rock is 2 hours away, or Springfield, Missouri is only about 4 hours away, or you've got Lake Norfolk, which is a very popular travel destination for us people here in Arkansas, and it's literally 2 hours away. You've got Spring River, which is another fun spot to go in the summertime, which is an hour and a half away. Great for fishing and canoeing and rafting and stuff like that. Also, you're an hour away from Memphis, which is where the big national airport, the international airport is that we all mainly use, unless you go to Little Rock, which there's pros and cons to both. But it's close enough to the big cities that you can have access to the perks and amenities, but it also isn't too close that you feel cramped and tied up in that city's politics and economic downfalls or upsides necessarily. It's not that connected, but it's connected enough where you can drive that way and experience the benefits. Another great thing that I love about Jonesboro is the community feel. It is big on supporting local businesses, local entrepreneurs trying to get started, and supporting local. That's what this city almost stands for. It seems like every corner and every person I talk to says something like support your local business or go and support your local restaurants. And there's so many local amenities here that makes it unique whenever you're comparing it to other bigger box cities. This can be great for people that want to start a local business or people that want to get connected but don't really know the big wigs in the city. You go into a place like Four Kings Coffee here in Jonesboro, and you're gonna network so well with so many people that are like-minded just as you are. And then, of course, one of my favorite things as a realtor is the living variety. If you want to live in a neighborhood that has, you know, an arm's worth of yard, you have access to that. If you want to live on a country club that's literally a walk away from hole number one, you have that here. Or if you want to live kind of remote in more of a rural setting on some acreage, you have that here, all within the same 15-minute drive of either way you go in Jonesboro. And there's not too many cities that offer that, especially for prices that you can afford. All right, now let me get off my soapbox and kind of talk about some cons to living here in Jonesboro. And the first one is kind of obvious. It's not like a big city. There's not a lot of entertainment options that you would find in a place like Nashville or Austin or Miami. It doesn't have that type of draw to it. Typically, the people that don't usually gravitate towards that type of stuff will end up actually coming to a place like Jonesboro because it doesn't have a lot of that, which kind of keeps the rowdy people and the crazy people out of the proximity of the city. Of course, there's still entertainment options, but it cannot be compared to a bigger city. So take that the way you will. You know, the variety is not there compared to a big city. You know, it's got limited shopping spots. It's got limited higher end restaurants. It doesn't have the big box feel, which, you know, it typically does come at a slower pace. Now, this con is maybe not as obvious to you as it will be to me here in the next couple weeks as summer approaches, but it's probably the weather. This con I was even contemplating on putting in here because it's not, well, it is something that you need to consider. I often say that Jonesboro is like the armpit of America in the middle of the summer because of how humid it is. If you live in a market or a place where it's not that humid, you're not going to understand it until you really experience it. And I hope and pray that when you do, you have a pool in your backyard that will cool you off. Because, man, when you walk outside and you automatically feel sticky and wet, it is not a good feeling in summertime. It makes it kind of miserable at times. And especially for someone like me that doesn't really enjoy hot weather, and I grew up in the duck woods, duck hunting, and, you know, standing in 15-degree weather. I mean, I'm a winter guy naturally, so maybe I'm being a little biased there. But if you do not like hot, humid summers, Jonesboro is not going to be an enjoyable place for you. So maybe you just get a vacation house somewhere up north whenever the summer comes around. The next one is job market. There's not just tons of big franchised industries that are here locally. There's a lot of factory jobs. There's a lot of remote jobs. And of course, you've got local entrepreneurs, whether in real estate or owning local companies, etc. But there's not just this big corporate company that's come in and just owned the market. And I'm sure eventually that will happen, but there's just not a ton of different varieties with job opportunities. But there is obviously room to grow no matter the company you're with or industry that you find yourself in. There is that aspect of it where you can create an opportunity. Another con that I feel might be worth mentioning is sometimes people think or make Jonesboro out to be something that it's not. At the end of the day, you cannot fake popularity. And not that that's what's happening. It does take people to get involved, and thankfully there's committees and there's programs and companies out here that are trying to promote Jonesboro, but it's obviously sometimes can be misinterpreted, or people might be portraying it to be a certain way when in reality it's not that when you get here. And so just to set expectations with you, I mean, again, it's not a bigger city, but it does have that local feel, but that's still growing, that still provides for opportunities for growth. And with growth comes growing pains, right? You see a lot of traffic, you see a lot of construction, and that is a good sign of growth. But obviously, if you're living in the city, it kind of makes it difficult for commuting and traveling, and especially if you got to commute to work and back and forth. Sometimes, man, you can sit in traffic for 30, 40 minutes on the highway, and that's because they're expanding, therefore they have to restrict the roads for just a period of time. But over the next couple of years, obviously, we'll see a lot better fluency within the roadways because of the work and efforts that they're putting in nowadays. So who is Jonesboro perfect for? It would be for the family people. It's for the people that maybe live in high cost cities that just kind of need a break from the hustle and bustle. It's for people that are maybe first-time home buyers, or people that want space, and also, want it to be affordable. And the people that might struggle are the people that are maybe wanting that big city energy, or the highly niche careers and that fast-paced lifestyle. So if you've been thinking about making a move to Jonesboro, and maybe you're just kind of on the fence and want more of a personal conversation, you can actually book a one-on-one call with me, where I would be more than happy to kind of go over a little bit more of these, or answer some questions that you might have that might be able to make or break your decision if you're actually wanting to move to Jonesboro, Arkansas. And of course, I am a realtor, so if you don't already have a realtor helping you kind of look in the area for homes, I would love to have an opportunity to earn your business. If you've liked this video, leave a like, comment something that maybe you learned, or if you live in the area and you maybe disagree or agree with me in some points, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear maybe a pro and con that you have to chime in. And of course, my name's Talon with Keller Realty here in Northeast Arkansas. Make sure to click the subscribe button. That'll help me know that you're actually finding value in these videos. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.